Well, this guide is Jacob Horn. The Vol Report with Jacob Horn is brought to you by our friends at Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Haun. Those doctors know that you'll enjoy life better when you see better. Look at me, no contacts, no glasses. Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Haun. Jacob, is it settled in yet that was your last game in Neyland Stadium? Is that a little bit weird?
I don't think it has really. I think it'll kind of obviously experience a lot of emotions on Saturday, and you know was aware that it was the last one, whatever. But I don't think it'll really hit until after the bowl, whenever I mean, guys, all my friends that are still here are coming back and have meetings or something, and I want to go, play board game or hang out or something. They're like, "Nah, sorry, we can't. Like, we got a lift or we got a meeting or something." I think that's when I'll be like, "Oh yeah, okay." It's really there's no more. It's kind of over with for this chapter. So, yeah, no, I mean, I definitely have thought about it, and will continue to think about it for a little while. But
Yeah, it still doesn't seem completely right to me as well. But I'm curious, leading into bowl season,
mhm.
will you track all those things? Do you try to figure out where you guys might be headed, or do you just wait for the announcement?
I mean, yeah, obviously you can't help but see it right all over the place. It's all the predictions and everything like that. There's all types of formulas, right? For if they lose or if they lose, or if this person wins and this person loses, we can go here. I think that you can waste a lot of time reading into that, but end of the day is they'll pick wherever wherever we go, and it's not much we can do about it. But I'll be super excited to get down there and man finish this thing the right way with this team.
Well, and it used to be more predictable now. The SEC basically just tells you where to go.
Right.
So, I mean, there's probably only four or five people that know. There used to be four or 500 on different bowl committees. You could
Right.
make a couple of phone calls and get an idea, but it would never surprise me if the SEC up and surprised us. The one that we keep hearing is Gator Bowl. What do you think this team would think of a Gator Bowl game, which is I believe on a Friday night, but it's in
Yeah.
Florida too.
Yeah. It's affordable, and that's amazing within itself. Just because I don't know about Jacksonville, but it'll be warmer than probably it is here, right? Which is always good. So, um, yeah, I mean, honestly, any bowl, like I think it's weird how this team has kind of come along because in the past, and again, we had this conversation last year when we won 10 regular season games, but eight regular season wins is good, right? And that's better than some, right? It's obviously not better than all of them, which we really are striving to be. But at this point now, you kind of just take what you get and you go and just try to enjoy it and do whatever, you know, make it the best experience possible. I'm sure Jacksonville would be an amazing experience if that's where we end up. Obviously, there's other places that we could end up, and I don't know. Like you said, we'll just have to see. We'll have to wait and find out.
I want to ask you if any game you'd like to have back, if you'd like to suit it up, maybe one of those losses and play it again and see what happened. First, though, I want to remind people that Jacob's appearance on the Vol Report with Jacob Warren is brought to you by Doctors Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Hahn. Again, I got my LASIK taken care of, and their doctors right there that are local. Other eye examination places or LASIK or cataract surgeries will fly people in from all over. But Doctors Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Hahn, they are local and there for you, and they truly care about you. So, your thoughts looking back on the season. If there's one game that maybe you could strap it up, play again, and see what happens, is what would that be?
Um, Probably, honestly, probably Alabama. I think that's one that you feel really good in the beginning, the first half of that game, and you kind of get what it feels like have success there and be really successful. Um, Obviously, there's all of the losses are ones that you wish you could go back and do things differently. Especially with how things turned out with the Gators. I think that you would prefer to go back and win that one just because of I don't know. Obviously, whatever it was, you're gonna get their best every year, so whatever. But yeah, there's definitely a couple you wish you had back. Unfortunately, you can't do it. But I think the first one that came to mind was Alabama, just because of how close you were and how good it felt the first half.
Hit that like and subscribe button. We greatly appreciate that. Be a part of the channel. We'll also visit with Cooper Mays in the coming weeks. He's got a decision to make, and you've been down that path.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to any of the guys that are thinking, I can go to the NFL or I can stay and get some NIL money? The NIL money is probably not going to be the exact same,
Right.
but it may be reason enough to stay. I mean, you guys really face a tough decision at a younger age that you had to navigate last year.
Yeah. I think it was a tough decision, and it was something that had major implications on just kind of my life for the next little while, right? Um, changes how you look at the game where you are, and it changes how you look at the next level for sure. But I think there's one thing that I would encourage Coop and obviously all the others to do is just follow. There's feelings, right? Everybody has feelings and has emotions, and knows the right thing for them in the back of their mind, right? Regardless of whether they're willing to accept it or actually follow through with it. I think was a big thing for me was just whenever those times when I thought I was leaving, I was more anxious, I was more stressed, I just kind of was worrying about the decision a lot more. And then whenever there was times when I felt like staying, right, like that's kind of where I was leaning towards. I just kind of felt free of those things, and I felt like I felt way more comfortable, way more at peace just in life in general, and with that decision. Um, and so that's kind of, a big step for me. I think also just being able to recognize my emotions and how I feel about things and making big decisions, it truly affected the way that I felt just in my day to day. So I would just encourage all of them to just think about those things and be able to be super aware of how you feel about it and make the right decision. Because I mean, just because I came back doesn't mean that his right decision won't be to leave, right? So just being able to listen to yourself and trust your gut on that.
Yeah, I probably should have listened to you when it came down to writing book or hosting a daily show. Now,
Mm,
hosting a daily show and visiting with you guys is awesome. It's
yeah.
that writing a book thing that wow, that's
Mm,
difficult.
I don't know about that one. Not for me, at least. I know my gut would tell me about that one.
Well, there might be a 2022 book about 10 years from now where, we'll do the 10-year anniversary of when Tennessee got back on the map. And you guys did that as a class. And I was talking to somebody the other day, how do you remember this class? And he said it pretty simple. And I'm including last year's and this year kind of in one group.
Mhm.
He said it's the group that made them relevant again. I mean, short of winning the championship, that's
Yeah.
pretty darn awesome.
Yeah, and that's very, man, that makes me very happy to hear and very proud to hear. I think that that's something I definitely agree with, right? I think that this class and the guys even that I came in with that are now already in the NFL or moving on to careers or whatever, they're a big part of it as well. But um, the guys that stuck around, the guys that decided that we came here for a reason. We came here to play ball here for this university and have a lot of pride in wearing the tee. And yeah, we have got to the point where people aren't counting us out. People aren't, I mean, questioning whether we've got talent, questioning whether we're gonna, play 4 quarters, I mean, whatever it may be. There's people that truly believe around this place now, and you know, it's great to be a part of, and I'm very proud and very happy that I was able to have my hand in it and do, the things that I did to kind of get it there.
Yeah, you did a great job, man. You really did. And as far as potential reasons to come back, I mean, you're out of eligibility, but I'm going to throw these at you. If let's say you did have another year, how big of a factor would these three things be?
Okay.
And I'm going to start with culture, ability to win a championship,
Okay.
because I think both of those are out there. And I think the culture for Tennessee's program is, from people I talk to around the SEC, one of the best out there.
Yeah.
So how big of a factor would that or was that in your decision?
So I think the culture piece was that for me. The culture, not just of the team, but of the tight end room, right? I knew what I was getting. I knew, at that time, knew pretty decently who was going to be the coach, right? I knew who the players were going to be, right? These guys that I've been with for years and years. I knew who was coming in. Like I knew that McAllen. I knew that Ethan Davis were going to be in the mix, right? I knew that we were getting a couple transfers that I hadn't met yet, right? And Luke Schaus, who not a lot of people know about, and Cody Duncan, who not a lot of people know about. Um, but I knew what I was getting, and that made me very comfortable because if I knew the culture was going to be, at least in the tight end room, if I knew it was going to be bad, then I think maybe it would have shifted my decision and my thought process, right? But I knew it was going to be positive. I knew it'd be good. I knew that it would help me grow just kind of as a human being, right? And just be really comfortable where I was. That definitely, man, played a huge part in my decision to come back was knowing what I was going to get and knowing that I'd be happy, knowing that I'd be supported and you know I'd be able to lead and guys would listen and people would respect me and all these things. So I definitely do think that it's a big part of it. The ability to win championships again is a big part of it too. Like nobody wants to lose games, right? Everybody, if I'm choosing to stay, like I want to stay because I want to be a part of a winning environment, a winning culture, and we're used to winning here. So it's now that's like the standard, right? You expect to win when you come back or when you make that decision, and um, you know it'd be hard to come back whenever you're projected to go 5-7 or 4-8. I mean that'd be really tough. But luckily we're in a position now to where regardless of predictions and whatever, no one really cares about that in the program. But that we do have you know standards and expectations on ourselves, and they're very high, and that's definitely a reason to come back.
The the other thing I want to ask you about, because yeah, I'm not trying to get you to put words in Cooper's mouth, but you guys are both local.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, being close to home, being close to your parents, trust me, we're going through our family being spread across the United States of America. If it were up to me, they'd all be in the same zip code.
Sure.
But being close to home, was that a big factor in your decision?
I mean, yeah, it was a big factor in my decision to come here in the first place, and it was also a big factor in my decision to stay. I think, especially with, you know, the way things are working now with NIL and with just how public everything is in my life, and how much people see my face and see me talk and everything like that. I just knew that it would be extremely valuable for me to have these experiences and to be able to continue to put my face in front of these people in Knoxville, right? That whether it's job opportunities or internships or just good relationships that I built with business owners or different people that can be resources for me in the future. Being a local guy is really cool because I kind of just feel like I have that advantage over whoever else it might be, just because naturally a lot of people around just know my face, right? Regardless of whether they actually know who I am or what I do or whatever. Maybe they've seen my face on a poster or on during the games or whatever, and it helps being a local guy for sure. So, um, that was kind of how I looked at it. Obviously, yeah, it was great to be around my family, and again, that kind of plays into the whole just comfortability and just understanding what I was getting. Right, I knew I was going to have an extremely strong support system with my family, and it's hard to give that up. Right, that's definitely the most valuable thing for me right now in my life. So, being able to stay with them and just kind of continue to get that support and be able to go home every once in a while and see them was really big this past year.
Well, and you created one heck of a wing sauce. I can tell you that being being around and eating anything but turkey.
Yeah,
I saw your poster there at Craven Wings, and I
yeah,
was like, "Yeah, I'm getting ready to have some of those." So I got the
definitely.
so certainly check that out as well. I had a sushi roll and margarita named after me. That's not as cool as wings.
Sushi roll is pretty cool though.
The hooker roll, yeah, but that
Never mind. We
company's
won't get into that. We won't get into that. Maybe academia be a future. You got me thinking. You got the gears turning.
yeah, that company's out of business. So I don't know what that says about the hooker roll in general. But the other thing that, and this is kind of out of left field, and I want to tread lightly here because I don't want this to sound like a knock on Joe Milton, who I'm
Yeah,
so glad had a fantastic last game. And I think he overcame a lot. We mentioned Cooper. There was the injury there. The offensive lines beat all the heck. That's going to affect quarterback play. So I don't want this to sound like a knock on Joe Milton at all.
okay.
But the ability to play with Nico. Would that be a factor in your decision? Because I think he has pretty good upside.
Um, I mean, yeah, I think it was very similar last year for me. It was the ability to be able to play with Joe, right? Regardless
Okay.
of how it shook out for him, right? And like you said, there's a lot of different things that went into just kind of some of the things that people saw on the screen and stuff. But yeah, dude, it was extremely promising for me to be able to come back and play with Joe just because of the talent that he is, and he's going to continue to be extremely successful again, regardless of how this season went. Just because of who he is and how he plays and all the skills that he has, he's going to be successful in the next level as well. So I think yeah, it definitely does have it definitely is a factor when you're thinking about it. Yeah, if I could come back, I would love to play with Nico a year, and I would love to be able to have a whole year of experience with him. So I definitely do think that that's part of it.
Interesting. Okay, so you come back. You could have been in the NFL. You could have been playing for the Carolina Panthers or the San Francisco 49ers or who
Mhm.
knows what. Was there ever a point where, and I know you're not a look back guy, but
Yeah.
you said, "Man, this is tough. I wish I would have just gone to the NFL and I'd be getting my 800 grand or so
Yeah.
as the minimum." Was there ever a point?
Man, no, I really don't. I don't remember a time, at least during the season, that I was sitting there like, "What am I doing? Like, why did I stay here?" I think I kind of put that, like, truthfully put that behind me and never really looked at it, never thought about it. And I'm happy I never really had to face those thoughts, just because that would be tough, right? And it'd be hard, just as it was a hard decision to make back in January. It would be hard for me to deal with right now about thinking about the what ifs and I could be doing this, I could be doing that. Because end of the day, like, I'm here and I'm still here right now. So that's really what I feel like did a good job of focusing on throughout the season, regardless of how things were going for me. So yeah, no, it's interesting. I didn't really never really thought about it until you just brought it up. So yeah, I'm happy I never really faced that.
Yeah, I've done this a time or two. I'm curious too, Jacob, with what you guys were able to do. So it's you and Princeton fan, and I argued last year. I don't know if I told you this, but I argued last year that if one of you guys had just played the whole season and not split drives, you're an all SEC tight end.
Yeah.
But you split drives. You did the same thing with McAllen Castles
Mhm.
this year, which I think is the right thing for Josh Heupel's offense. I'm not knocking anything
Sure.
about that,
Yeah.
but you had you coming into this year. That
Mhm.
was a known commodity. Don't have really known commodities headed into 2024. Tell me why Tennessee's tight end position will be above average, good, or great in 2024 and beyond.
Man, it's crazy because it truly just depends on how the next, I guess it would be 4 or 5, 6 months go. Man, spring ball is where me personally as a player made extreme jumps. Right, I think that was the biggest time of improvement for me in my game was all the spring practices that I went through. So for guys like Ethan Davis, guys like Charlie Browder, Titus Rohr, Luke Schaus, our new guy Jonathan that's coming in, Emmanuel Koye, like all these guys in this room that make up the room. That's going to be the time for them to show, first of all, what they can do, but second of all, that they're willing to progress, they're willing to get better because the game's very unforgiving, right? You have to continue to get better. The people that aren't getting better are just kind of going to get pushed to the side and get left behind. So it'll just depend on how much they go to work and the leadership in the room, whoever steps up and decides that they're going to take a hold of it. If they're able to demand a high standard, then I think that they'll be, just as talented, if not more talented than we were this year. And it's weird because we're having through the three main guys that we're playing a lot this year. Everybody's pretty much going to be out the door. So yeah, we'll see who steps up and we'll see who has it in them to go out there and kind of take it.
I like how you challenged the guys there, and you didn't give me a name. That was very PR savvy of you. But is there?
It's not my first time, right? Didn't you say that earlier?
It's not
Mhm.
your first, not Jacob's first time either.
Right.
But is there a guy that's caught your eye?
Yeah, for sure. I think Ethan Davis is going to be he's going to be really special. He has made huge strides since he's been here for sure. But is one of those guys that I know will take the spring very seriously and will train his body to get exactly where it needs to be. I think he's gonna be really good in the future.
Boy, love talking to Jacob Warren. We've got some more time to do so with a bowl game, and I want to talk to you about when you get drafted with the 5th overall pick.
So,
So there we go. He is Jacob Warren. I'm a fan. Dave Hooker, the Vol Report, brought to you by Jacob Warren. I'm sorry, the Vol Report with Jacob Warren, brought to you by Doctors Camp.
brought to you by Jacob Warren. Yeah.
Yeah, this may be my first time. The Vol Report with Jacob Warren is brought to you by Doctors Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Haun. Enjoy life better when you see better. This has been a presentation of Off the Hook Sports.